We are here with Dr. Adamczyk again, and thank you so much for your presentation with us on handing down the faith. And I have a couple of questions for you. So the first one I have is, where do you see the disconnect between parents' upbringings and their children's with regards to religious education? So we're talking about different worlds here in a lot of ways, right? And I'm curious to know what the particularities are that you've been able to see that parents looking on their own journey, looking back with nostalgia, might not be able to see as readily in their children. Or are parents pretty savvy about how different things are these days with their children's faith compared to their own? So what are you seeing here along these lines?
Yeah, no, Jill, that's a great question. So, one thing just to reiterate, and your question has these ideas embedded in it, is how much parenting has changed over the years. So, the world today is obviously very different. So, parents are spending a lot more time with their kids. There's this proliferation of extracurricular activities, many of which occur at the same time as church services and sermons and other things. And at the same time, parents very much want a relationship with their kids. They often, not all, but many of them are having them a little later in life. They have a lot of resources. Parents today are more educated, better educated. So there's just a lot more investment in their children than their parents possibly had with them. And just to be clear, Jill, I'm a social scientist, and I certainly can appreciate that there's all different kinds of family forms, and different groups of people may be more likely than others to have well-educated parents and so forth. But in general, if we're talking about averages, the parenting context has just changed a lot. I think a lot of the parents that we talked to were pretty aware of how different things were today in terms of how they wanted to think about religious faith transmission and education with regards to religion specifically. And so they were thinking a lot about, well, how can I do this, or where do I do this, and how do we make this happen? They were also, I don't want to say that their own parents weren't invested in them, but these parents were very invested in their kids and wanted to have a good relationship with them. They very much want them to succeed. Not that most parents don't want their kids to succeed, but these parents also wanted their kids to continue to have a relationship with them as they moved forward. And so they didn't want to do things that were going to necessarily drive their children away or make things especially difficult. And many of them often saw religious education as a way of helping their children. And we talked a little bit about this previously, but it's a way of, just like children should learn how to read and write, they should also learn about religion, because it's going to give them this great foundation, and that's going to be useful as they move forward. And then they'll have less challenges, or when challenges arise, they'll be able to better manage them. And so I think parents in a lot of ways were different than, I think, if we had done the interviews with their own parents 30 years before that.
Yeah.
And they were very much thinking about the changes in the world and how they could fit into those, and also what they wanted out of it.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Thank you.